Hi guys, it's me again. So today's video is going to be one that I've mentioned wanting to do in several of my earlier videos. And it is about understanding how the school system works regarding special education and priorities and all those things. And so I've mentioned before how much I love Peter Wright's books, Special Education Law and From Emotions to Advocacy. And this I'm going to be using From Emotions to Advocacy today to talk to you about the system, okay? And I'm going to have to reference this several times because it's been a while since I've read it. So I'm just going to go through and tell you what I get from it. So there's a chapter in here, which is chapter 4. Learning the rules of the game. And it starts out by talking, when you start a new job, you're in a new culture and you have to learn how things work and whatnot. And so then it goes on to say, what do you know about your child's school? What do you know about your school district? How are parents of children with disabilities perceived? And so it says, your child's team is a small part of a larger team. They have a chain of command. If you have an unusual request, your child's school team may not have the authority to grant your request. If you haven't encountered that yet, you will encounter it one day. So the next thing, school bureaucracy. Bureaucracies are created to fulfill missions. And basically the mission of the public school system is to provide an education to all students, a one-size-fits-all as best they can. And so that's what they're going to try to do. Okay, when you try to advocate, you will learn about gatekeepers and one-size-fits-all programs. And when you understand how that works, you'll be a more effective advocate. So I'm just going to read this because it's just beautifully written. And I'm sorry, Pete Wright. Hopefully I get you a lot of book sales with this. But I just have to read it the way that it's written. It's called Gatekeeper Rules. When you advocate, you are likely to meet gatekeepers. Gatekeepers limit the number of children who have access to special education. And they limit the services the children will receive. If you have health insurance through an HMO or managed care firm, you know all about gatekeepers. Think about that. They're comparing it to a business. Gatekeepers may tell you that your child is not entitled to an evaluation, a change on the IEP, more services, or different services. The gatekeeper's job is to say no. One of your jobs is to persuade them that your child's situation is different and needs a different approach. Okay. And he goes on to talk about the different things that you'll hear about. So it talks about we can't make exceptions. School districts have elaborate systems of rules that govern how decisions are made. You'll run into the we can't make exceptions rule. And that is tied into we have never done that before, or we don't want to do that. When you prepare and plan, you can defeat these arguments. Goes on to say many school districts have standardized one-size-fits-all programs. If your district is creative, you may have 2 program options, one-size-fits-all 1 and one-size-fits-all 2. In a typical one-size-fits-all program, decisions about the program and placement are based upon the child's disability category, not the child's unique needs. I need to tell you a story about that sometime. I don't know if it'll be today. They give the example, if you have a 4-year-old child with autism, your child's program and placement may be the school's standardized one-size-fits-all preschool program for all children with autism. If dyslexia, they might be in the program for kids with learning disabilities. What's wrong with this? The school district is required to provide each child with an individualized education program. Standardized one-size-fits programs do not do that. So it goes on to talk about Sorry, I'm going to take a quick drink. Sorry. I can't pause this or I have to start over. So, and I hate it when people drink on camera. Okay, what do you need to know about your school district? Who's in charge? What is the perception of parents of children with disabilities? Okay, climate. Climate is a term that describes the learning environment created by teachers and administrators. What is the climate of your school? If you are like many parents, you may not realize that your child's school team has invisible members who you never meet. These invisible members are school administrators who have the power to make decisions about special education programs. If you request a special education program that is different from the district's standard program, the school team may not have the authority to grant your request. The team has to consult with the invisible members who make the decisions. These invisible members may not know you or your child. Who are your invisible members? How will these people respond to your request? Okay, so we already talked about the gatekeeper. A few other people that I have found are the invisible members, sometimes a principal, a vice principal, special ed director, superintendent, legal department, all people that you may never, hopefully you know who the principal is, but people that never may deal directly with your child, and yet they're going to weigh in on what your child needs and make the final decision, because it all comes back to money. Okay, he has this great table that says 10 reasons why schools say no. Number 1, the school does not want to change long-standing procedures. This hair's driving me crazy. Number 2, the school does not want to make exceptions to existing policies or practices. Number 3, the school is afraid of setting a precedent. 4, the school does not have the staff to meet the needs of the child. 5, the staff is not trained to meet the needs of the child. 6, the school does not have a program to meet the child's needs. 7, the school is committed to their one-size-fits-all model. 8, the school believes the services your child needs are too expensive. 9, the school is overwhelmed by the complexity of your child's needs. And number 10, the school does not understand the legal requirement to provide your child with an individualized program. Okay. So I'll just give you a couple of examples from here. You'll hear things like, for example, we're dealing with some junior high stuff right now. And my daughter has some learning disabilities, some reading issues, and all of that. The school district that we are in provides, they're supposed to provide what's called a continuum of placement options to meet the needs of the child. But at the end of the day, they only have so many options that they can provide. In our school district, they provide a continuum for math and language arts. So they have a regular class, they have resource classes, which is the next level down, and then they have what are called accommodated core classes, which are for the more severe kids. And this is for math and language arts, okay? Well, what about your other subjects? What about science and history? So they don't do that for science and history, even though science involves math and reading, history involves reading, but it doesn't matter because they only provide the extra middle type of help for language arts and math. And so if you go in and ask for, well, where's the continuum for my kid? My kid's got learning disabilities. How can they why is it that they have to either be in the regular science class or they have to be in the class with the severe kids? Why isn't there something in between? It's going to fall under, they don't want to make exceptions. They have long-standing procedures. They don't want to set a precedence. To give your child that type of a setting would require a whole new program, and it's too expensive. And they have a one-size-fits-all model. So I hope that this is helpful to you. There are a lot of people, and he references what we just talked about throughout this whole book. There are a lot of people who are behind the scenes and a lot of dialogue that happens behind the scenes to run this business. I'm going to refer to it as a business. And it's all about the bottom line for some of these people. That's what their focus is. And it's really quite sad sometimes. And I've actually sat in meetings where I've looked at people and I've thought, how can you look at yourself in the mirror every day? How can you feel good about being the one that constantly says no, or who's okay with knowingly breaking the law? Why is that okay? Where is your moral compass? But of course, you can't ask those things. You just have to move on. So I'm going to be referencing this book hopefully, multiple times. But I would encourage you to go get it. I will try to put a link below, and hopefully that helps you understand a little bit more of the system and the invisible system that you're dealing with in special ed. So I hope all is well. Make sure you're subscribed. Leave me a comment down below if you have any stories to share about the invisible system. And until next time, make it a great day. Thanks. Bye.